Polaris's 2020 side-by-side new model launch took place in two parts that happened back-to-back but in completely separate locations. This was actually quite telling. If the products we were going to see were last year's models with new graphics, it's more than likely Polaris would have simply done a full-line product launch at one location. But it being split into two parts meant that at least one of the product lines, either Ranger or RZR, was getting something big. In this case though, it wasn't one or the other. There was big news from both. On the Ranger side, we had to ask ourselves, what could Polaris possibly give us that they don't already offer? They really do have the most complete lineup of utility side-by-sides in the industry, with pretty much no gaps at all. But in pure Polaris form, the news for 2020 wasn't about adding a new model. It was about improving and essentially replacing an existing model with something that's better in every way. The model that's getting replaced in 2020 is the Ranger 900. This unit was Polaris's #1 selling side-by-side model for years, mostly because it offered full-size Ranger capability at a more affordable price than a full-jam Ranger XP. For 2020, Polaris has replaced the Ranger 900 with an all-new Ranger 1000. Now don't get this twisted, this is not a Ranger 1000 XP. But if you're having a hard time telling the difference, you're completely forgiven. The two look nearly identical at first glance. It's not till you move in for a closer look that you start to see the differences. The biggest update over the Ranger 900 is obviously the motor. The 900 has been replaced with a 1000cc single overhead cam twin that produces about 60 horsepower. Why even do this? The only thing that's likely to change with an update like this is the price, right? Wrong. The price point on the new Ranger 1000 is only $300 more than the outgoing 900. Other updates include new plastics that are so similar to the XP they could almost be the same. A new 3-passenger interior has split bench seating with an adjustable driver's seat and under-seat storage on both sides. The dash has also been reworked to look more like the XP. A great looking gauge cluster, new shifter, large top access glove box, lots of integrated storage areas, and room for no less than 8 beverages round out the new interior. The mechanical changes are mostly limited to the motor, but a new quick access air cleaner is going to make routine maintenance that much simpler. The new Ranger 1000 is yet another in a long line of examples of Polaris taking a hugely successful model that is still selling extremely well as is, and giving it a major overhaul, but not charging more for all the new updates and features. Right now, this is a uniquely Polaris way of doing things, and it's one that benefits you, the consumer, big time. While the new Ranger 1000 is definitely big news and will no doubt be a hit with buyers everywhere, the biggest news from Polaris for 2020 is no question the new RZR PRO XP. Make no mistake, the RZR is not just a RZR XP with some new plastic and some new doodads. This is a completely new vehicle from the ground up. Polaris made it very clear to all in attendance at the Pro XP unveil that the Turbo S and Turbo S Velocity models are not being replaced. They stay right where they are in the lineup for 2020. The Pro XP simply takes residence one level above them, now occupying the top spot in Polaris's line of sport side-by-sides. To understand what the XP Pro is, you first need to understand what it isn't, and I know this is some Mr. Miyagi type stuff, but hear me out. For its initial release, the Pro XP comes in 3 versions: a base model, a mid-level model without DYNAMIX, and the top-of-the-line DYNAMIX-equipped model. All are powered by the same double overhead cam twin-cylinder 1000cc mill, which is based on the same platform as the Turbo S's power plant, but in the Pro XP it's now pumping out 181 ponies. Polaris claims the new engine is tuned to produce most of its power between 20 and 50 miles per hour. Both versions are also only 64 inches wide, which probably shocked us as much as it shocked you. 22 inches of suspension travel front and rear and a 96-inch wheelbase round out the numbers RZR fans are most interested in. I spent a solid 5 hours in the wide open desert in the DYNAMIX 2.0 equipped Pro XP, and I can say without hesitation that after riding them back to back, this vehicle can be driven as fast, if not faster, than a Turbo S or Turbo S Velocity. It corners flatter, it handles more predictably, and it rides smoother in all conditions. Of course, a lot of the credit for this has to go to the new DYNAMIX 2.0 system. Now, DYNAMIX 2.0 isn't really a new system, but rather a complete rework of the original DYNAMIX technology we all know and love. Processing time is dramatically shorter, shock adjustments are almost twice as fast, programming is smarter and tuned for even better ride and handling in all conditions. It's not just a name, DYNAMIX 2.0 is better. It's also easier to use, which brings me to the next most impressive thing about the new XP Pro, the interior. Everything about the interior of the Pro XP is impressive. The seats are ultra sculpted, and while uncomfortable looking at first, are actually ultra comfortable. New 6-point retractable harnesses are easy to use and increase safety. The dash is all sculpted and includes lots of storage, a brand new passenger grab handle, and sweet looking accent lighting. Both seats are adjustable fore and aft and for tilt angle. The steering column tilts, obviously, but it's also telescopic, a first in the side-by-side industry. The 7-inch Ride Command touchscreen infotainment system is canted toward the driver and is in easy reach, but you won't need to reach for it. The new flat-bottom steering wheel features controls for both your radio and Bluetooth stereo, as well as controls for the DYNAMIX system settings. There are buttons to cycle through the 3 pre-programmed bass modes and a big red button, let's call it the oh crap button, that instantly bumps all 4 shocks up to level 10 as long as you hold it down. Being able to adjust your radio, that's great, but being able to adjust dynamics from the wheel, that's genius. I will say this, the big red button is magical. I found I started riding with my thumb on the button at all times. This allowed me to run the dynamics in sport or even comfort and still push as hard as I wanted to through the biggest whoops or washouts. All it took was a quick press of the button, and any impact you'd normally be calling your chiropractor about was dulled to almost nothing. This brings me to my only suggestion for Polaris about this system. That big red button should be moved to a paddle-style lever that can be reached with your right-hand fingers. This would allow you to more comfortably use it as a driving tool at all times. Still, either way, I love it. The Pro XP contains a long list of other impressive upgrades as well, like the strongest drivetrain ever installed in a RZR side-by-side, new clutches, clutch venting, and a new belt that results in an almost 50% increase in belt life, cool external accent lighting front and rear, and a massive cargo box that can actually haul an impressive amount of stuff, including a full-size 32-inch tire. There's just so much new, cool stuff to talk about, we simply don't have enough time to cover it all in this story. But you can bet we're going to be bringing you a full test ride on the XP Pro as soon as physically possible. I think the most important comment made during the 2020 RZR Pro XP intro is that this unit is just the beginning of a new generation of RZR vehicles. Reading between the lines leaves us speculating that the Pro XP will likely show up in 72-inch wide and 4-seat configurations in the not-too-distant future.
Thanks for watching Dirt Trax Television. For more great content, click on one of the links on the screen and make sure to tune back every day for fresh new content in season on Dirt Trax TV.